Job interview success beyond the questions.
Okay, so ready to dive into something I think we all face at some point.
Always a good one.
Job interviews.
Yep.
You've got the resume, you prep the common questions, but we're going deeper today.
That's right.
We're talking about the stuff that's rarely on the tip sheet,
Wow.
subtle cues, unspoken dynamics that can really make a difference.
I like it.
We've got some research and expert advice here that's going to get you thinking differently about this whole interview game.
Ooh, game? I like that.
We're going to uncover some body language secrets and figure out what the interviewer's really looking for.
Okay.
And even explore how telling the right story can make you unforgettable.
I love it.
So much good stuff here.
It's fascinating how much emphasis we put on the what's of interview prep.
Yeah.
Knowing the company, having your answers ready.
Right.
But the how you present yourself, how you connect on a human level.
Yeah.
That's often what separates good candidates from great ones.
I love that, the how. And it starts even before you say a word right.
Oh, yeah.
This research we have dives deep into nonverbal communication.
Okay.
And I was surprised by how much emphasis is put on eye contact.
Oh, interesting.
It's not just about staring them down, though.
Right. It's about finding a balance.
Okay.
You want to make eye contact to show you're engaged, but you don't want to lock eyes for an uncomfortably long time.
Right.
Think of it like a natural conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You look away, you look back.
Mm-hmm.
It's about conveying confidence without being intimidating.
So it's almost like there's a rhythm to it.
Exactly.
Not just staring intensely, but finding that natural ebb and flow.
Yeah. And the same goes for your overall posture.
Okay.
Think about what open posture actually looks like. Leaning forward slightly shows interest. Uncrossed arms signal receptiveness.
Right.
And mirroring the interviewer's angle can subconsciously build rapport.
Oh, interesting.
But the key here is that it has to be genuine.
Yeah.
Don't force it.
No robotic nodding or anything.
Exactly.
And speaking of genuine, the handshake, apparently it's still a make or break moment for some interviewers.
It's a powerful first impression.
Yeah.
A firm handshake,
Yeah.
a warm smile, it sets the tone for the whole interaction.
Right.
It conveys confidence and professionalism right off the bat.
So maybe a little handshake practice is in order before the big day.
I think so.
Get that grip, feeling confident, but not bone crushing.
Right.
Now, we've been talking about how WE present ourselves.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears and get into the interviewer's head for a bit.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Because it forces us to move beyond our own nerves and think about what they're trying to achieve.
Yes.
They're not just trying to fill a job slot. They're trying to solve a problem.
Right.
Bring someone onto their team who's going to be a good fit.
Absolutely.
The research mentions this idea of company culture fit.
Yes.
It's something we hear all the time.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many of us really think about it beyond just, do my skills match the job description?
Company culture fit goes way deeper than skills.
Right.
It's about finding someone who's not only competent, but also aligns with the company's values, work style, even their sense of humor sometimes.
Oh, wow.
When I'm interviewing, I'm paying attention to how someone interacts, what kind of energy they bring to the room. Those subtle cues tell me as much as their answers to the prepared questions.
So it's almost like being a detective.
It is.
Looking for those clues that tell you if this person is going to mesh well with the team.
Exactly.
And one of the best ways to figure that out for both sides is by asking insightful questions.
Yes.
Not just the generic ones,
Right.
but questions that show you've done your research and are genuinely curious about what it's like to work there.
Absolutely.
So it's about going beyond what's the work-life balance like and asking something more specific to their company or the challenges they face.
Right. Maybe you read an article about a new initiative they're launching.
Okay.
And ask how that's impacting their team. Or maybe you saw on LinkedIn that they won an award for their sustainability efforts.
Right.
Digging into that shows you're paying attention and you care about the things that matter to them.
That's such a good point.
Yeah,
It's a chance to show you're not just looking for any job. You're looking for the right job.
exactly.
Okay, we've covered first impressions, nonverbal cues, and now the strategic thinking about culture fit. Let's move on to how you actually showcase your skills and experience.
Okay.
And I know you've probably heard about the STAR method a million times.
The STAR method, yeah.
Situation, task, action, result.
It's a classic for a reason.
It is.
It's a great framework for structuring your answers.
Right.
But this research encourages us to go beyond just using the STAR method.
Okay.
And think about how we can make our answers even more impactful.
So it's not just about following the formula. It's about how you fill in the blanks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What are some of the tips they give for taking STAR to the next level?
One of the biggest things is focusing on quantifiable results.
Okay.
Numbers pop.
They do.
Instead of saying, I increase sales,
Right.
say, I increase sales by 15% in just 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Give those achievements weight by adding specific details.
I see.
Think about how you can tailor this to your field.
Okay.
If you're in marketing, maybe you talk about how you boosted website traffic by 30% using a new SEO strategy.
Uh-huh.
If you're in engineering, maybe you highlight how you reduced production costs by 10% by streamlining a process.
So it's about making those accomplishments concrete.
Yes.
Giving them something tangible to latch onto.
Exactly. And another thing that often gets overlooked is enthusiasm.
Okay.
It might sound cheesy,
Right.
but genuine excitement can be a huge differentiator.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah,
But there's a fine line between enthusiasm and coming across as well a little too excited.
absolutely. It's about finding that sweet spot,
Okay.
showing your passion without being over the top. Think about how you can convey that through both your words and your body language.
Yeah.
A genuine smile,
Yeah.
a little extra energy in your voice when you talk about a project you're proud of. Those things can go a long way.
It's like that saying, enthusiasm is contagious.
Yes.
You want them to catch your excitement.
Exactly.
Now, we've talked about showcasing skills,
Yeah.
but this research also dives into something I find really interesting. The power of storytelling in interviews.
Ooh, storytelling.
Why are stories so effective in this setting?
Stories bypass the logical part of our brains and tap into something deeper.
Okay.
They make you memorable, relatable, and create an emotional connection.
Right.
It's not just about presenting facts.
Yeah.
It's about sharing an experience that gives the interviewer a glimpse into who you are.
So it's not just about what you did, it's about how you felt, what you learned, what made that experience meaningful.
Exactly.
And the research specifically mentions relatable stories.
Yes.
What does that mean for someone going into an interview? What kind of stories should they be looking for?
Relatable stories don't have to be grand or extraordinary.
Okay.
They can be about everyday challenges, small victories, moments where you had to think outside the box or collaborate effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Think about experiences that highlight your problem-solving abilities, your teamwork skills,
Yeah.
or your ability to overcome obstacles.
Right.
Those are the stories that will resonate with the interviewer on a human level.
So it's not about bragging or trying to impress with something flashy.
Yeah.
It's about finding those human moments that connect us.
Absolutely.
It's about authenticity again.
Exactly.
Now, finding those stories is one thing,
Yeah.
but how you tell them is equally important.
This is where it becomes almost like a performance.
Okay.
You want to bring the story to life.
Uh-huh.
Make the interviewer feel like they're right there with you.
All right, I'm hooked.
Okay.
Tell me more about how to actually craft a captivating story for an interview.
Well, let's get into that. Like we were saying before, everyone throws around the advice, tell a story, but rarely explains how to do it effectively.
It's true. It's easy to say, tell a story, but like knowing which story to choose and how to deliver it so it actually makes an impact, that's a whole other skill set.
Absolutely. It's about being strategic and understanding what makes a good interview story.
Okay.
It's not just about entertaining the interviewer. It's about conveying valuable information about yourself
Right.
in a way that's engaging and memorable.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Yeah.
What are the key ingredients of a great interview story? What should our listeners be thinking about when they're trying to mine their experiences for those golden nuggets?
First and foremost, relevance.
Okay.
The story needs to be directly related to the job you're interviewing for.
Mm-hmm.
It should highlight skills or experiences that align with the key responsibilities of the role.
So if I'm applying for a project management role, I wouldn't tell a story about, say, winning a chili cook-off unless it somehow showcased my incredible ability to manage complex projects under pressure.
Unless you can draw a clear connection between your chili cook-off victory and the skills required for project management.
Okay.
It's best to stick with stories that are directly relevant to the job.
Got it.
You want to demonstrate that you understand the demands of the role and that you have the experience to handle those challenges.
Right. Make that connection crystal clear. So relevance is key.
Yes.
What else should we be thinking about?
Structure is crucial as well.
Okay.
A well-structured story has a clear beginning, middle, and end. It sets the scene. Introduces a challenge or conflict, describes the actions you took, and highlights the results you achieved.
Okay.
Remember the STAR method we talked about earlier?
Yes.
That can be a helpful framework for structuring your stories.
So even within the story itself, we're still using that STAR approach.
Exactly.
Situation, task, action, result.
Right.
It's like a story within a story.
I like that.
It helps keep things organized and make sure you're hitting all the key points.
Exactly. And once you have the structure down, it's all about delivery.
Okay.
You want to tell your stories in a way that is captivating and memorable.
Right.
Use vivid language, vary your tone of voice, and make eye contact with the interviewer. Remember, you're not just reciting facts, you're painting a picture with your words.
This is where that performance element comes back in.
Yeah.
It's about bringing the story to life, making the interviewer feel like they're right there with you, experiencing the ups and downs, the challenges and triumphs.
Precisely. And one of the best ways to do that is to incorporate sensory details into your stories.
Oh, I like that.
Describe what you saw, heard, felt, even smelled or tasted.
Okay.
Those details help to create a more immersive experience for the listener and make your story much more engaging.
Oh, I love that. It's like those writing workshops where they tell you to show, don't tell.
Exact.
Don't just say you were stressed. Describe the knot in your stomach, the way your palms were sweating, the feeling of your heart pounding in your chest.
Exactly. Those sensory details bring the story to life and help the interviewer connect with you on a deeper level.
Okay, so we've got relevant structure, engaging delivery, sensory details.
Yes.
Is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind as they're crafting their interview stories?
One last but crucial tip: practice.
Of course.
The more you practice telling your stories, the more confident and natural you'll sound.
Right.
Practice in front of a mirror, record yourself, or tell your stories to a friend and get their feedback. The more you practice, the smoother your delivery will become and the more impact your stories will have.
Practice makes perfect. Or at least it makes us a lot less likely to stumble over our words or lose our train of thought in the middle of a story.
Right.
It helps build that muscle memory so you can focus on connecting with the interviewer.
Exactly. And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
To connect with the interviewer, to showcase your skills and experience in a way that resonates with them, and to leave a lasting impression.
Now I'm curious, do you have any examples from your own experience of a candidate who really knocked it out of the park with storytelling, someone who told a story that just stuck with you?
I do. I once interviewed a candidate for a marketing position who told a story about a time she had to launch a new product with a very limited budget.
Okay.
She described the challenges she faced, the creative solutions she came up with, and the incredible results she achieved despite the limited resources. But what really made her story stand out was the way she conveyed her passion for marketing and her unwavering belief in the product.
It sounds like she didn't just tell a story about a project. She told a story about her resilience, her resourcefulness, and her ability to think outside the box.
Exactly.
It was a story that revealed her character and her passion.
Exactly. And that's what makes a great interview story.
Yeah.
It's not just about the events themselves. It's about the deeper meaning, the lessons learned, the values demonstrated.
Okay, we've talked a lot about storytelling, but before we move on, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, asking thoughtful questions.
Yes.
I think a lot of people get so caught up in preparing their own answers that they forget that an interview is a two-way street.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
Asking insightful questions not only helps you gather information about the company and the role,
Right.
but it also demonstrates your curiosity, your engagement, and your critical thinking skills. It shows that you're not just looking for any job, you're looking for the right fit.
And it gives you a chance to see if they're the right fit for you, too.
Absolutely.
What are some of the questions that really impress you as an interviewer? What signals to you that this candidate is a cut above the rest?
I'm always impressed by candidates who ask questions that go beyond the surface level and demonstrate a genuine understanding of the company's mission, values, and challenges. For example, instead of asking about work-life balance, you could ask about the company's approach to employee well-being or how they foster a culture of work-life integration.
So it's about showing that you've done your homework, that you're thinking critically about what it would be like to work there.
Yes.
It's about moving beyond the generic and getting to the heart of what matters to both of you.
Precisely. And another thing that impresses me is when candidates ask questions that are tied to specific things we discussed during the interview.
Okay.
For example, if we talked about a new initiative, the company is launching a thoughtful candidate might ask about the anticipated impact of that initiative on the team or how they plan to measure its success.
That shows you were listening, that you were engaged in the conversation, and that you're thinking strategically about how you could contribute to the company's goals.
Absolutely.
It's about connecting the dots and showing that you're not just passively absorbing information. You're actively processing it and thinking about how it all fits together.
Absolutely. And those are the kinds of questions that make me think, this candidate is really thinking about this role. They're not just going through the motions.
Right.
It shows a level of thoughtfulness and genuine interest that really sets them apart.
Okay, so asking thoughtful questions is a must-do for any candidate who wants to make a lasting impression.
Yes.
What else should our listeners be thinking about as they're wrapping up the interview and getting ready to head out the door?
Don't underestimate the power of a strong closing statement.
Okay.
This is your last chance to reiterate your enthusiasm for the opportunity and to leave a lasting impression on the interviewer. Summarize your key strengths, express your excitement for the role, and thank the interviewer for their time.
It's like that final moment in a presentation where you want to leave the audience with a clear takeaway message and a sense of excitement about what you've shared.
Exactly. Use that closing statement to reinforce your key selling points, to express your gratitude for the opportunity, and to leave the interviewer with a positive, a memorable final impression.
Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
But there's one more crucial piece of the puzzle that we haven't touched on yet. The follow-up.
Ooh, yes.
The follow-up.
It might seem like a small detail,
Right.
but trust me, it can make a world of difference in how you're perceived after the interview.
The follow-up is often overlooked, but it's a valuable opportunity to reinforce your interest in the role, to express your gratitude, and to keep the conversation going.
Right.
It's a chance to showcase your professionalism and to stay top of mind with the interviewer.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's dive into the art of the follow-up after a quick break.
Sounds good.
We'll be right back. We're back, and you know what we're tackling, right?
The follow-up.
That often neglected but oh so important part of the interview process.
Yes, very important.
The follow-up.
It's like the cherry on top of a well-executed interview.
I like that.
You've made a great first impression, you've showcased your skills, you've asked insightful questions.
Right?
And now it's time to seal the deal with a thoughtful and well-crafted follow-up. Okay, I'm ready to learn how to craft that perfect follow-up message.
Right.
This research we have emphasizes the good old-fashioned thank you note.
Yeah.
Now, I know in today's world of instant messaging and emails,
Right.
a formal thank you note might seem a bit outdated, but I have a feeling you're going to tell me it's still a powerful move.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
In a world of digital communication overload, taking the time to write a personalized thank you note shows a level of professionalism, courtesy, and genuine interest.
Right.
That can really make you stand out from the crowd.
It's like receiving a handwritten letter in a sea of emails.
Yeah.
It just feels more personal, more thoughtful, more human.
Yes.
But the research goes beyond just saying, send a thank you note.
Right.
It really emphasizes the importance of personalization.
A generic thank you note can easily get lost in the shuffle. But a personalized note that demonstrates genuine appreciation and reinforces your interest in the role can leave a lasting impression and keep you top of mind with the interviewer.
Okay, so how do we go beyond the generic thank you for your time?
Yeah.
And craft a thank you note that truly stands out? What are some tips our listeners can use to make their notes more personal and impactful?
One simple but highly effective strategy is to reference a specific detail from your conversation.
Okay.
For example, you could mention something you learned about the company that particularly impressed you, or a particular project that sparked your interest.
So instead of just saying, I enjoyed learning about your company,
Right.
you could say something like, I was particularly interested in your company's commitment to sustainability and the innovative ways you're reducing your environmental footprint.
Yes.
Or I was really impressed by the team's passion for developing cutting-edge technology that's making a real difference in people's lives.
Exactly. Those kinds of specific references demonstrate that you are actively listening during the interview and that you're genuinely interested in the company and the work they do.
It also helps jog the interviewer's memory.
Yes.
And reminds them of your conversation and the positive impression you made.
Absolutely. Another tip is to reiterate your enthusiasm for the role and to highlight how your skills and experience align with the company's needs.
So it's not just a thank you note.
Right.
It's also a subtle reminder of why you're the perfect candidate for the job.
Precisely. Use the thank you note as an opportunity to reinforce your key selling points and to leave the interviewer with a clear understanding of the value you bring to the table.
I'm loving these tips.
Okay, good.
It's all about making that connection, showing that you're not just going through the motions, you're genuinely invested in this opportunity.
Yes.
Any other final thoughts on how to really nail that thank you note?
Keep it concise and professional proofread carefully to avoid any typos or grammatical errors.
Yeah.
And send it within 24 hours of the interview. Timeliness is key.
Got it.
You want to strike while the iron is hot and keep the momentum going.
Great advice. A well-timed and well-crafted thank you note can really make all the difference.
Yes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of job interviews,
Yes.
I think it's safe to say that success in this arena requires much more than just knowing the right answers.
It's about so much more than just reciting facts and figures.
Right.
It's about understanding the psychology at play, connecting with the interviewer on a human level,
Right.
and presenting yourself in a way that is authentic, engaging, and memorable.
It's about preparation meeting opportunity. You got to do your research, practice your stories, and be ready to showcase your best self.
Right.
But it's also about being adaptable, reading the room, and responding to the nuances of each specific interview situation.
And most importantly, it's about being genuine, being enthusiastic, and letting your passion shine through.
So to our listeners out there who are gearing up for their next big interview, remember this. You are more than just a resume. You are a collection of experiences, skills, and passions.
Yes.
It's your job to weave those elements into a compelling narrative that captivates your audience and leaves them wanting more.
Think about the stories that illustrate your strengths, the questions that demonstrate your curiosity,
Right.
and the nonverbal cues that convey your confidence and enthusiasm. And don't forget the power of a well-crafted thank you note to solidify that connection and keep the conversation going.
Go out there, be bold, be authentic, and most importantly, be yourself.
Yes.
Because when you bring your whole self to the table, that's when the magic happens.
I love it.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. We'll see you next time for another insightful exploration of a topic that matters to you.